2.5 minutes left. Minutes and 40 seconds. One and a half minutes until the show begins. We're going to quieten down the background music. That's a Texasism. Quieten down. Quieten down. Quieten down. Quieten down. Quieten down, you kids. Q-U-I-E-T apostrophe N. Quieten down. Quieten down. 30 seconds till the show begins. Show. The reading. The chilling. The chillaxing. Trying to lean back here, get real comfortable. I'm in it just as long as you are, right? We got to get comfy.
Welcome to the 9dNation.
בראשית ברא אלוהים את השמיים ואת הארץ.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Thousands of years later, it was Wednesday at 11 p.m. Central. Get your passport ready and be prepared to declare to the customs agents any edible plants or miscellaneous worldviews. You're now crossing into the nation with no denomination.
Hello. This is G. Ross. You're in the nation with no denomination. Lately on Sunday nights we keep YouTube alive. You're not banned tonight, YouTube. Let me cut right to our close-up. Well, first, what is 9dNation? it was two things. First, it was me doing whatever, and then it was me doing this other whatever. So we're just kind of vaguely going through the Bible, kind of in rudimentary stabs at learning Hebrew. Nothing crazy, nothing too intense. Just doing our thing. Little cozy thing we do. So let's go to Genesis 2, verse 10. That's tonight's episode starting point. All right, let's switch to 2:10. Oh, I did it again. Yeah, ignore that. That's rookie mistake there. All right. Gen 2. Verse 10. Now, before we read verse 10, if you haven't had a chance to see all of episodes 1 through 9, or what is this? 1 through 7 of season 2, let us catch you up. This is our story so far. I think I'm going to turn the background music down. Just one more. In 6 days, Ahiah made at top quality, above and below, darkness over the deep, spirit over the water, food plants for cultivation, sun, moon, and stars, shining down from the sky water holder to mark events, an army of angels, abundance of water animals, air animals, land animals, bigendered, God-breathed images of God, out of land dust to rule over animals, for placement in the Eden garden with tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The blessed sanctified seventh day is for rest. That's our story so far. Now let's read in English, verse 10. Now a river flowed out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it divided and became 4 rivers. Let us do it in Hebrew. Okay, I'm gonna try this. Ve'nahar yotze me'edin lahashkot et Hagan umeshom yipachred v'haya la'arbaha rashim. How's that? So let's look into this a little bit closer. V'nahar. That comes from Nahar, which is a stream or a river. It's used 19 times in the Old Testament. It can mean canal occasionally. And it means also the Euphrates, I think. I took a note about that. Let's see why I would have said that. Right, if you'll notice, it can literally mean, if you say the river, you mean the Euphrates River. So the Euphrates is like the Kleenex of tissues of rivers, or the Coke of sodas of rivers. Does that make sense? Nahar, it means the Euphrates or other lesser, not Kleenex named rivers. Yotze, we've seen this word before, like the earth brings forth vegetation, brings forth animals. Yotze. So a river was brought forth, the Euphrates, or something like the Euphrates. Me'edin, That's Eden, the garden. Remember, this garden was just planted, like the way an ear can be planted. Plop. Think of it like SimCity. Poink. There it is. Lehashkot. This has been seen one time before. This is when you actively cause someone or some animal to drink. It's like, drink, drink. Shoving the glass in their face, or like holding water up to the horse's mouth, or, you know. It's very active, sharing water with word. Like fixing your thirst, slating your thirst, causing you to drink. Hagan, we've seen this word before in prior weeks. It means garden. Umeshom, this is the second use, and we saw last week and the week before, I think. It kind of means like that place. It means yonder. It means not here, but the place we're talking about, right? So Eden's very much there, thither. Not here, but there. Yipared is from parad. That's this word right here. Yipared. Parad. This means to divide. It's 26 Old Testament uses. And you can separate things like lambs, people, the wings of a bird, nations. So you could think of like parted. It almost sounds like that. Like parad wings, parted wings. Vuhaya, we've seen this a million times so far. It means it turned out to be, or it came to pass that, or what you would have sawn was, you know, it's kind of a passive be verb with a sense of unfolding that way. Larbaha, that's from arba or four, and fourth sounds like Rabbi. So you can kind of see La Arba and Rabbi. You could see how it's like four or fourth. So that makes sense. And then finally, Rashim, that comes from Rosh. You might, you know, that word from Rosh Hashanah. There's 599 Old Testament uses of this, and it can mean top, the beginning of time, the highest part, river starters or headwaters, which is interesting because in Hebrew, a river comes from a head, just like the body of Christ. Maybe is that does attributes flow from Christ like in a river? I'm not saying they do. I'm not saying that's good theology. Just saying it's the same word. Do I sit here and think that my body flows from my head? Its actions can flow from stuff that happens in the brain, I guess. I feel like I'm a little bit hot in the mic. Yeah, I'm going to turn this down just a bit. Let's turn this down. Where should I do that? There's so many choices. It is a little hot, isn't it? Check, check. Oh, that's a little better. All right. Seems like it's clipping a bit, doesn't it? Oh well. I'll just calm down. All right, let's put all these words together. A river sprouted from Eden to actively water that specific garden. Then after that, it parted into four beginnings, heads, or fonts, or founts. Now let's take our story so far and work that in. In 6 days, Ahia made at top quality, above and below, darkness over the deep, spirit over the waters, food plants for cultivation, sun, moon, and stars shining down from the sky water holder to mark events, an army of angels, an abundance of water animals, air animals, land animals, bigendered God-breathed images of God out of land dust to rule over the animals, for placement in the Eden garden, with the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and a watering river that later became 4 sources. The blessed, sanctified, and 7th day is for rest. And then when I was putting this together a few days ago, made it a little shorter. Are you ready for the shorter version? Because it's growing. We got to shrink it down. First, let's wander through the scanners and see who's saying what in the various chats. It's very quiet tonight because it's not super late at midnight yet. Nobody's in here. It's okay. It's totally okay. It's totally fine. Let's make it a little shorter. Our story so far condensed down just a bit more. In 6 days, Ahia made everything excellently. Food plants for cultivation, sun, moon, and stars shining down from the sky water holder to tell time, an army of angels, animals of land, air, and sea, bi-gendered God-breathed images of gods, from dust to rule over the animals, from Eden with the good and bad trees, and a river that became 4 fonts, 7th day for rest. Then I shortened it again. You ready to hear it? 7th day for rest, after Ahia made everything excellently. Food plants for cultivation, sun, moon, and stars shining down from the sky water holder, angel army, animals, bi-gendered God-breathed images of God to rule over animals, from Eden with the good and bad tree, and a river that splits to 4. So it seems like the head of the river seems to be in Eden, as is the garden, and the river passes by the garden and then splits into 4. I'm not 100% sure if all the garden stuff that we just read was all in the first 6 days, or, like when it was placed and planted and when the rain came and stuff like that. Also, what is the head of the river, an underground spring, or is it from high land? And this brings up the question. Everyone's got this. And kids, you always would ask this as a kid, right? Where is the Garden of Eden? This was a pretty good summary. I'll put it in the chat. I'm kind of going with it, like, the flood scrambled anything we might have known anyway, to probably a very large extent. So you can check out that article. I liked it. Let's go to verse 11. The name of the first is Pishon. It flows around the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. Let's read it in Hebrew. Are you ready for this attempt? Shim ha'echod Pishon hu hosovev et kol eretz hachavila, hachavila asher shom hozovov. So let's go through it one word at a time. Shim. That means to name or to create reputation of. It's very like fame or infamy. It's a reputation container or a fame container. What's in a name? That's a devilish question. Everything's in a name, right? Like what you know something as. It's a label. Adam was to name the animals. This is important. I'm okay that Shakespeare asked what's in a name. A rose by any other name would still smell just as sweet. Because I think he's bringing the thesis and the antithesis in the same question. So I don't remember what he concludes. But anyway. Ha'echod. That's the same we say for day 1. Like earlier when it said there was morning, there was evening, day 1. Also, when you collect the water to dry the land, it collects into a single existing place. So it means singular, So the name of the first, the name of the one we're going to talk about first, basically. Pishon. It's from the word pison. It's a full-on proper name. It's only used once in the Old Testament, and I kind of see the word Pisces in there. You know, I'm not a wordologist, but doesn't it seem like that? So, Pishon, Pisces or something. It's a proper name for a river. Who has 1,877 Old Testament uses. It's a very common word. It means it. So it's a grammatical construction word. I had a teacher in high school, a freshman in English, said never use the word it in a paper. I'll dock you it was like half a letter grade each time you saw the word it in a paper. It just would go boop, 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 boop. You'd not use the word it. She wouldn't let you use it or this, I think. It's a lazy word, but it's a useful word. Hosovev comes from sabab, to turn around or go about or to surround. 157 Old Testament uses. What about like lasso or loop? So like the Pishon went around. Et is like a little grammatical thing, and then kol we've seen many times. All. Eretz, the land, right? Like ha'eretz is the earth. Eretz is the land of. You'll see here. La Chavila. It's named after the son of Cush, or it can mean that. It can also mean the son of Joktan for some reason. It's in the Old Testament 7 times, and it's pretty much a proper name for a territory. So the Pishon goes around Chavila. Asher, we've seen that many times. It means which. And then Shom is similar to that word Shem, right? Sorry. Not Shem. We've seen this 2 times before. It means that place. Sorry. And then finally, Zehab, gold. 389 Old Testament uses. Now, before we put this all together, this is the first time we've seen this word, gold. So when preparing this show, I thought, you know what? For the announcing of gold in our Bible reading, we need to hear this. You know it's coming.
Switch to Liberty Mutual and save $652.
Hello.
Excuse me.
This is Lumen, the first device for hacking your metabolism.
All right,
With
we're
just one
talking
breath,
about
Gold, always believe in your soul. You've got the power to know you're indestructible.
I'll get busted on YouTube hard for that. It's about all we can play. I should have remembered that. Oh, YouTube, you pigs. So anyway, gold. Hazahab. So before we put it all together, let's look at this. I was kind of curious to read up on gold. There's streets of gold. Some churches say that gold comes down from the ceiling tiles. There's apples of gold in Proverbs. The Magi brought gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So, I don't know. I was just kind of curious. What else did I write about gold? Here, let's look this up. I don't remember why I have this link. Oh, yeah. I have one of these in the house. Gold eagle coin. I think that's the back of it, I guess. I don't remember. Anyway, gold. It's a pretty metal. Uh, 389 Old Testament uses. Figures big in the book of general revelation and specific revelation. Meaning humans love it. I mean the book of nature in the Bible. Sorry, I was just reading my notes like a robot. All right, let's summarize. The sentence to me can be summarized as Famously first Pishon, looping Chavila and its gold. So now let's put it all together. 7th day for rest after Achaya made everything excellently. Food plants for cultivation, sun, moon, and stars shining down from the sky water holder. Angel army, animals, bi-gender God breathed, images of God to rule over the animals, from Eden, with the good trees and the bad, and a river that splits to 4. Famous Pishon, looping the gold-filled land of Chavila. Let us move to verse 12. First, we'll check. We got 2 lurkers, maybe. Nice. Love you. Love you. Just not trying to get too late night punch drunk, but it's been a long week. It's always a long week, isn't it? It really is. Let's go parallel. Parallel. Okay. The gold of that land is good. The bdellium and the onyx stone are there as well. Let's go into it. Let's get into it. I mean, the gold there is primo. Know what I'm saying? All right, let's look at these words. Uzahav. First, let me say it. Uzahav haaretz hahiv tov sham ha-bedolak ve'eben hashoham. So Uzahe, we just saw in the last verse, that's gold. Haaretz, we know it's earth. We've seen this several times. Hahiv is from who or high, and it means he, she, or it. And we just saw a second ago, it means it in this case. Tov, we've seen that a lot before. It means pretty or attractive or good. Kitob. Sham, that place. Ha-bedolak comes from bedolak, which is probably bdellium. There's 2 Old Testament uses. The other one is in Numbers, and it said manna-colored bdellium. So I was like, what is that? Best I could figure is it would be some kind of a thing like this. Where's the picture? Why? I put the wrong link. Okay, why did I do that? I meant to put here. Let's try this. I think it's supposed to be this one. Oh, here, let's get the music going. Yeah, something like this. The Bible says the manna was like coriander or white bdellium stones. So there's kind of like a little rendering of what it could have been like. Kind of looks like, what's that? Cottage cheese or something. Bdellium. Ve'evin is from Eben. That's a stone. 273 uses in the Old Testament. It can mean build, stone, weight, ephod, like the stones in the breastplate that the priest would draw out. Pillar. It's basically all kinds of like different uses that's like cement or like hardened rock or rock-like stuff. Stone, rock, weight. Hashoham comes from shoham. It means a gem. And in this case, it's thought to mean an onyx. There's 11 Old Testament uses. It might be also, instead of onyx, beryl. So let me show you pictures of onyx and beryl. It's probably the first. It might be the second. So you got the yummy food-like rock, or you got this cool, you also have this cool black-like rock, or it may be kind of secretly hope it's this other stuff. Because this other stuff, to me, looks like kryptonite. But it's probably this. It might be this. It's probably this. That's the Hasoham. Probably the black stuff, the onyx. So let's put that all together as a sentence. They have good earth gold there, and bdellium and onyx. Now let's put the whole thing together. 7th day for rest after Achaya made everything excellently. Food plants for cultivation, sun, moon, and stars shining down from the sky water holder, angel army, animals, bigendered God-breathed images of God to rule over the animals from Eden with the good and bad trees, and a river that splits to 4, the famous Pishon looping the quality gold, onyx, and bdellium-filled land of Havilah. Bdellium. What is bdellium? It's, let's see. I just looked it up. It's a false myrrh. Like, in other words, that manna-looking stuff we looked at. It's a false myrrh, whatever myrrh is. It's a semi-transparent oleogum resin. So it's like goop, I guess. I'll call it myrrh-light or myrrh-esque or myrrh-y. Let's put it all together with that. 7th day for rest after Achaya made everything excellently. Food plants for cultivation, sun, moon, and stars shining down from the sky water holder. Angel army, animals, bigendered God-breathed images of God to rule over the animals. From Eden with the good and bad trees, and a river that splits to 4, famous Pishon, looping the quality gold, onyx, and myrrh-esque filled land of Havilah. If you haven't seen prior episodes, you might be like, what do you mean the sun, moon, and stars shining down from the sky water holder? You can go see episode 2 and a little bit of 3. I think those are the ones. The rakia is hammered out like the way a metalsmith hammers it out. And the sun, moon, and the stars were placed in the rakia. And the rakia, the firmament, holds the waters above from the waters below. It doesn't say the rakia is water vapor mixed with oxygen and nitrogen. It says it holds the waters above from the waters below. I'm just reading the book. I'm not a flat earther. Well, I am, but I'm not hammering that right now. I'm just saying this is what the book says. Just saying. All right, let's go to verse 13. Let's do it. The name of the second river is Gihon. It flows around the whole land of Cush. Checking just to see who's doing what, who's saying what, who's thinking what. It's pretty quiet in here. It's a summer Wednesday at 11 o'clock. I'm up against Patel Patriot and Sloan TV. I came here straight from Sloan TV. If you're not here, you should be there. Or Severanon. So many good shows. All right. Let's do the reading. Let's do it in Hebrew. Oh, yeah. Oh, I already had it open. So let's see what happens. Let me horribly pronounce all of this stuff. Okay. All right. Let me make a run at this. V'shem hanahar hasheni Gihon hu hosovev et kol eretz Cush. Shem, we've seen that's the name. We saw that a minute ago. Hanahar, we just saw that. That's a river. Hasheni, that's the number 2, or the second river. Just like when we did our 6 creation days. First, second, third, fourth. Second here, just like second there. Gihon, Gihon, a bursting forth. So it's one of the rivers of Eden. It's a proper name. It's used 6 times in the Old Testament. And it actually implies in its name that it's bursting forth. It's the Burster River, the Gusher. It's Old Faithful, right? It's the geyser. It's funny, the word geyser and gusher, Gihon, it's similar. Anyway, I wonder if it was narrow at the start and it came from a spring, maybe like a lot of pressure. Then it gets wider and deeper later. I don't know. So maybe it's a little churny at the top. Like, how do they know it bursts out? The next word here is hu, or it, hosovev. We saw that last verse. It goes around or through. Et, we know is it. We just saw it. Kol, every, or all. So, kol eretz, all the land. Eretz means land. Cush, that's a proper name, used 30 times in the Old Testament. Pretty much means Ethiopia. Or Cush, but really Ethiopia. So, this verse says, the famously bursty second river Gihon surrounding Ethiopia. So our stories so far could be summarized as follows. 7th day for rest after Achaiah made everything excellently. Food plants for cultivation, sun, moon, and stars shining down from the sky water holder, angel army, animals, bigendered God-breathed images of God to rule over the animals, from Eden, with the good tree, the bad tree, and other trees, and a river that splits to the famous 4, Bishon, looping the quality gold, onyx, and muresk-filled land of Havilah, bursty Gishon around Ethiopia. Let's go to verse 14. Verse 14. First I'm checking. I'm going to take a sip of water. Sparkly water, like Gishon water, right? It's bubbly. Hello, new lurkers. We're just reading the Bible. Kind of in English, kind of in Hebrew. I have no idea what I'm doing with Hebrew, but we're doing it anyway. Just doing it anyway. All right, we're on Genesis 2:14. The name of the third river is Tigris, or Tigris, I don't know. It flows east of Assyria, and the fourth river is the Euphrates. All right. Let's get into it. I'm going to attempt time travel. No. I'm going to attempt reading this. I just quoted from Star Trek 4. We're going to attempt time travel. I think that's what it said. Haven't seen that movie in a while. Alright. Alright. Vashim Hanahar Hushelishi Chidekel Hu Haholek Kidmot Ashur Vahanahar Harevil Huferet. That's my best guess. So Veshim, we saw that recently. Hanahar, we just saw that. And Hosheleshi means 3. Hidekel is a proper name for Tigris. It was used once in Daniel also. Genesis and Daniel. Hidekel sounds nothing like the Tigris to me. I could sort of see Gishon, Pishon, Euphrates. How Tigris comes out of Hidekel. Hidekel. Tigridekel. I can't see it. Tigris, Chidekel. Tigridekel. I just can't see it. Hu means it. Haholek comes from halak, which is to go, to arrive, to walk. 1,549 Old Testament uses. So if it's a river, maybe it's like running along or bestriding. So kind of coming alongside. Gidmat is from Gidma, which is the front or the east. There's 4 Old Testament uses of this word. And remember, east, if it comes from the east, then it's from God, then it's good. If man goes to the east kind of uninvited, it's bad. It always leads to bad. So, side note, if he kicks us out of Eden, he means business. We're supposed to go the other way. We're not supposed to go back. We always want to. You're supposed to go forward and deal with it, right? Nicodemus says, what, do you go back in and get born again? No, that's the point. You don't. You get born more or born again. You don't get reborn, you don't get the same experience again. You get born further, like born again. Anyway, Ashur comes from Assyria. There's 151 Old Testament uses. It's pretty much the northern half of modern-day Iraq. And then Vahanahar River, Haravili, the 4th, Hu, it, and Feret, that's the proper name, 19 Old Testament uses. The Euphrates, you can see Feret, Euphrates. So to put it all together, the 3rd is the famous Chidekel along eastern Assyria, and the 4th is the famous Euphrates. I just can't call it the Tigris. I don't see how Chidekel is Tigris. So now let's put it all together. The 7th day for rest after Achaiah made everything perfectly, or excellently, perfectly. Food plants for cultivation, sun, moon, and stars shining down from the sky water holder, an angel army, animals, bigendered God-breathed images of God to rule over the animals. From Eden, with the good and bad tree, and a river that splits to the famous Pishon, looping Chavila or Gold Land, Gishon around Ethiopia, Chidekel along eastern Assyria, and the Euphrates. Nice. Genesis 2:15. Let's do it. Genesis 2:15. Then the Lord God took the man and put him in the garden of Eden to cultivate it and tend it. All right. Going to attempt this. Are you ready? Let's do it. Vayika achaya Elohim et ha'adam vayoni chehu vegan edin laya veda ule shomaira. All right. Let's look at vegan for a second. Is a vegan a vegan? Because why did I put that there? Let's see. Let's look at vegan. This word here sounds like vegan. I don't think I have a very good point there. All right. Vayika is from Laka. There's 965 Old Testament uses. It means to take or to receive. So he does move Adam in an active way. So he maybe scoops him up to do it or grabs him. He's like, shoop. Achaya Elohim, we've seen that a million times. Lord God. Et Ha'adam, the man. So Vayonichehu comes from Yanach, which is to bestow, to cast down, to lay down, to leave off, to let alone, to remain, or to let remain alone, to place. So there's 75 Old Testament uses. And when I look through it, it's got a feeling of almost leaving you alone or sticking you there. Maybe even almost kind of plonk and running away. You're gonna be here. I'm putting you there. And Vegan, we know that's garden. Aden, that's the proper name. Layaveda, we saw that earlier in chapter 2. It's a very, last week or the week before, it's a very, honestly, it's a slavey word. It's a hard labor, land working, I imagine our migrant workers, that we always see in the videos, just working the fields, working. Ule Shomaira is from Shamar. That's to keep watch or preserve. So that's like a guarding kind of feeling. So to work it, but to take care of it. 469 Old Testament uses. So kind of to be like a peasant and the landlord, both. Isn't that interesting? Because Jesus is like a servant king. So from the jump, we were supposed to be like that. To homestead, is that kind of when you're the peasant and the landlord? You're homesteading? I got to be honest. I wanted a homestead when COVID first hit. And then about 2 days later, I'm like, nope, not for me. I'm not that good at homesteading. So I'll need a gun so I can take your food. No, I'm kidding. I store up food. I really do. A good amount of it. But I don't know. I'm going to have to go up to homesteaders if civilization collapses and be like, hey, I can, I can play bass. I'm going to have to earn a living the hard way. So let's summarize it all up. Pardon me. Achaya snagged the human and slapped him in the garden to work and protect it, or to homestead it. Let's put it all together. One big giant paragraph. The seventh day for rest after Achaya made everything excellently. Food plants for cultivation, sun, moon, and stars shining down from the sky water holder, angel army, animals, bigendered God-breathed images of God to rule over the animals, and homestead the Eden garden with the good and bad tree and a river that splits to the famous Pishon, looping Havilah or Goldland, Gishon around Ethiopia, Chidekel along eastern Assyria, and the Euphrates. Fair? All right, let me inhale before we go to verse 16. Verse 16 it will be. All right, verse 16. The Lord God commanded the man, saying, from any tree of the garden you may freely eat, semicolon. Obviously there's more to come. We all know it. It's super famous. Let's dig in. All right. So here's my attempt. Veitzov achaya Elohim al ha'adam lemor mikol etz hagon akol tochel. Fair? Fair enough. So Veitzov comes from Sava, which is to lay a charge upon, or give a charge to, or to command, or to order. There's 493 Old Testament usage. Could it be like a worker assignment? Like, here's your job description? Or programming, bioprogramming? It's also a covenant. This is the first covenant, for sure. It's the first half of the first covenant. The next verse will have the rest. So let's go in there. Achaya Elohim al ha'adam lemor. We know these words from the prior weeks. Lord God, to Adam, muttered or uttered or said kind of matter-of-factly or easily. It comes from Amar. I'm still fascinated by that word. It's the same word that he says, let there be light, let there be, various things. Let the earth bring forth. Mikol, we know that word kol, it's all. Etz is tree. We've seen it several times. Hagon, that comes from the garden word that we've been studying. Akol, again, to eat. This is weird. So it says akol, which is a word to eat, and then tochel, also to eat. So it means like manja, like freely eat, like eatly eat, like eat eatily. They're both from the same word. They're just conjugated slightly different. That word has a dash of consumption, and I think it's only used in the Torah 810 times, not the other books. So it's a very Moses-friendly word. Let's put it together. Your command, uttered Achaya to the human, chow down on any garden tree. All right, let's put it all together. The seventh day for rest, after Achaya made everything excellently. Food plants for cultivation, sun, moon, and stars shining down from the sky water holder. Angel army, animals. Bi-gendered God-breathed images of God to rule over animals and to homestead the Eden garden with the good and bad tree and a river that splits to the famous Pishon looping Chavila or Goldland, Gishon around Ethiopia, Chidakel along eastern Assyria, and the Euphrates. Avaya to the humans. By the way, chow down on any of the garden trees. But, and that brings us to verse 17. Let's check the chats. Still chilling, chillaxing. All right, let's go to verse 17. But from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for on the day that you eat from it, you will certainly die. Okay. Nothing bad here. The cataclysm has not yet happened. All is perfect. All is good. All is as God made it originally. Let me read this in Hebrew type pronunciation as best as I can with my unintelligent self. Umietz hodot tob vara lo tokal mimenu, sorry. Tokal mimenu ki beyom al chacha, I think. Mimenu mot tamut. Is that really achalcha? Achalcha. Let me read that. Achalcha. Yeah, I think that's it. Achalcha. All right. Let's go through that. umayetz. It's a grammar way of saying, but the tree, the etz. Hodot is from Tob. Or no, sorry. Hodot Tob Vara. We had seen this earlier when he put both trees. It means the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. I think. Hang on. Hodot Tob Vara. Hadad Tob Vara. I'm mispronouncing that. Yeah. Knowledge of good. Tob is good and Vara is evil. Okay. Right. All right. Hadot Tob Vara. Lo means not, it's like the negation word, but not of that tree. Tokal is to eat. We saw that with manja manja. Mimenu, that's, if you remember, the mist from the ground, or also dust from the ground. In chapter 2, both were using that word. Ki, we've heard this a million times. It means for when. It means when in this case. Biyom, we know yom is day. Achalcha, that's from that eating word. So like tokal. And then mimenu again is from. Mot, this is the first time we've seen the die. It's from Talmud, and it means, if he says mot Talmud, that's from the word die twice. So it means die dyingly, or dyingly die, like surely die, right? It's from muth, which is to die. It's 839 Old Testament usage. I hear morte, which is like a romantic language word for death. And it can mean natural death or like battle death, or, you know, a calamity or an accident. And it's always straightforwardly just translated as die. Die, 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 die. So it's such a common, simple word. It's like just known what it is. But if you're Adam and you hear that, if you're 4 years old and you've never lost a parent or a grandparent or a pet or a turtle, do you know what that is? Oh, they go away forever. Well, where do they go? To nowhere. Where's nowhere? And also, do I understand what death is? I've seen people die. But have I truly understood it? Jesus did. And then he came back to tell us about it. Okay, we'll put it all together. It says, "Except not the bad tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Not eat from that, as the day you eat from that, you die. So let's put it all together. The seventh day is for rest after Ahia made everything excellently. Food plants for cultivation, sun, moon, and stars shining down from the sky water holder, angel army, animals, bi-gendered God-breathed images of God, to rule over animals, and to homestead the Eden garden with the good and bad trees, and a river that splits to the famous Pishon, looping Havilah or Goldland, Gishon around Ethiopia, Chidekel along eastern Assyria, and the Euphrates. Ahia to Adam. By the way, chow down on any of the garden trees except the one of the knowledge of good and evil, which will kill you that day. Let me shrink it a little more because it's getting long. Seventh day for rest after Ahia made everything excellently. Food plants, skylights shining down from the water holder, an angel army, animals, men and women to rule over the animals, and homestead Eden with the tree of life, and a river that becomes Pishon, looping Gold Town, Gishon around Ethiopia, Chidekel on eastern Syria, and the Euphrates. Adam, chomp any fruitful tree, but the one of the knowledge of good and evil, that will insta-jib you. Insta-jib means like quickly kill you, turning you into like guts, giblet you. Let me shrink it some more. Sabbath, after Ahiah made everything, plants, lights shining down from the water holder, an angel army, animals, men and women to rule over the animals, and tend the Eden with the tree of life, and a river that becomes the big four. Adam, quote, eat any fruit but the deadly one of the knowledge of the good and evil, unquote. Let's read verse 18. But first I check on the peoples, see what they up to. Chilling. Love it. Love it. We're just doing our thing. All right. Let's go to verse 18. Then the Lord God said, it is not good for the man to be alone. I will make him a helper suitable for him. Vayomer Haya Elohim Lotob Hayot Ha'adam Levado E'eshe Lo Etzer Knegdo. All right, let's dig into those words. We've seen Vayomer Haya Elohim many times. We know that Lo means not and Tob means good. Hiyot is that it's like used 20 times so far since Genesis 1:1. Turned out it was that, or passively it became that. Ha'adam, we know that's Adam. Levado, that's bad. Let's see. Levado. No, sorry, that's not bad. It comes from the word bad, the word bad, or separate or part. It's 201 times in the Old Testament. It means like appurtenated or chopinized, like the branch of a tree. It's incomplete in and of itself. It can be like individual construction posts. It's almost like a tree with no forest. So like the fingers of a hand. They can't really make sense by themselves, but they can be separated. Unity and diversity. Ese, that's the same word that was used like when God made the plants, made the animals, made the sun, made the moon. Lo means him. Etzer, that's a helper. This is the first time we've seen it. It's got 21 Old Testament usage. It kind of means an aid or an assistant or a reliever. Someone that relieves you, shares in that burden. Knegdo, that's from neged. That's facing or in front of or right opposite. Like your mirror image would be knegdo of you. There's 150 uses in the Old Testament. It means like right ahead or opposite. Like people that are face to face are knegdo. So to put it all together, Ahiah uttered, no good. It ended up that human is singular, will fashion a helper to face Ha'adam. Let me put it all together. Sabbath, after Ahiah made everything, plants, lights shining down from the water holder, an angel army, animals, humans to rule over the animals, and tend the garden with the tree of life, and a river that becomes the big four. Adam, eat any fruit but the deadly one of the knowledge of good and evil. Lame that you're single will make a helper to face you. All right, let me summarize it the teensiest bit more. Sabbath, after Ahiah makes all. Plants, skylights in the water holder, an angel army, animals ruled by humans tending Eden by the river where the tree of life is, and it breaks into the four rivers. Adam, eat any tree fruit but not of the deadly one of the knowledge of good and evil. And I'll make you a facing helper, so you're not singular. Let's go to verse 19. We're cranking through a lot of verses. This is our 10th one. I think our 10th one. Let's check the chats. Chillin'. Got to check so many different ones. But hey, that's modern media. Modern guerrilla media. Let's go to the next one. All right. And out of the ground, the Lord formed every animal of the field and every bird of the sky and brought them to the man to see what he would call them. Whatever the man called a living creature, that was its name. All right, let's read it. This is a long one. Vayitzer achaya Elohim min ha'adama kol hayat hasadeh ve'et kol of hashamayim vayave el ha'adam lirot ma yikra lo ve'chol asher yikra lo ha'adam nefesh hayahu shemo. So we actually already know from prior chapters, from prior episodes, all the first several of the words, all the way to Hashemayim. Let me show you. We've seen these all before. Vayitzer Yahweh Elohim min ha'adama kol hayat hashadeh vuet kol of Hashemayim. We've seen every one of those words. It means formed up, Achaya God, from the ground, every beast of the field, every bird of the air, bird of the heavens. So I'm not going to quibble about those too much. Vayave, that comes from bow, to come in, to come, to go in, to go. 2,573 Old Testament usage. It's a very flexible word. We're going to go into that word and look really close at it for a second. Look how many uses it has. Give, get, go, enter, reach an age. Very flexible word. So it's almost like the animals were bamfed in or zoomed up or coerced to walk towards or brought in like a king looking at stuff. El means two. Ha'adam, we know that's Adam. Lirot, that's the word for appear. Let's look into that word. Appear. Lirot. Like you'll see that the dry land appeared. It looked good to God. You know, God saw it. We see stuff like that. All right. Lirot. Ma. That's a new word for us. It means what or how. There's 745 Old Testament usages. It could mean like any whatever. Cualquier in Spanish, right? Has a hint of maybe it could surprise God. Like, hey, let me see what Adam's going to call this guy. That's not theologically possible. But this has a kid's fable feel to it, especially right here. God paraded the animals to delight in letting Adam freely choose. We could say that. This is really, really, really old story. I dare say there's no older story, right? We know that. Yikra, that's like when God named the day and night, what he was calling stuff. You know, God divided the day from the night and named them day and night. Named it, you know, dark and light, named them day and night. Lo, we know that means them. Ha'adam, Nefesh, and Haya, we know those words. Human living soul, or something like that. Let's see. whatever Adam, the living creature, that would be the name, right? We'll put it all together here in a second. We've seen who a few times recently. That means it. Shemo, that's that famous assigned, well-known name. So let's put it all together. Achaya brought the created living creatures to Adam to demo what Adam would call them. And whatever Adam said, that's the now famous name. It's a big responsibility. Aardvark. I dubbed the Aardvark. I dubbed the cockatrice. You know, like what are these animal names? Is that an animal name? I think it's a bird, like with the big plumes. I think cockatrice. I think that's a word. What is cockatrice? I'm gonna look it up now. Aardvark. Oops, I misspelled it. I swear it's a bird. I'm not making it up. See? Cockatrice. Oh, that's a Pokemon. I swear I didn't know that. I'm naming Pokemons. Modern fictional animals that don't really exist. So notice he paraded them to Adam. He didn't send Adam out. I don't know why. I don't know how that's important, but it makes Adam like the representative of the king, right? They have to come to him to find out what they are. So let's put it all together. Sabbath. After Achaya makes all. Plants, skylights in the water holder. An angel army. Animals ruled and named by humans tending Eden by the river where the tree of life is, and it breaks into 4 rivers. Adam, eat any fruit, but not of the deadly one of the knowledge of good and evil. And I'll make you a facing helper, so you're not singular. All right, let's go to verse 20. It's our last one of the night. Are you stoked? I mean, this has been fun. Let's just do one more verse and we'll call it. Fair? All right, Genesis 2:20. Last verse. I did a lot of prep work this week. We don't usually get through this many sentences. The man gave names to all the livestock and to the birds of the sky and to every animal of the field, but for Adam, there was not found a helper suitable for him. Not trying to be gross, but we know that when Adam eventually finds Eve, he's like, oh. So in that context, it's kind of weird to me that it seems like their animals are shown to see, hey, Adam, what do you think? Right? It can't mean that, but it's easy to fall into that. So, I don't know. I just wanted to share. All right. So, God's been vayikraing, but now Adam's going to vayikra. All right. Vayikra ha'adam shemot lechol ha'behemot uleof hashamayim ulekol hayat hashade uleadam lo matza ezer knekto. Vayikra, we know that's to give the name, to dub, to famously dub. Ha'adam, that's Adam. Shemot, how you're famously known as, how you've been dubbed. Lechol, be'emot, uleof, hashamayim ule chol, hayat hashade ule adam. We know all those words. We just know them from before, right? So, let me double check. Lechol, right? Yeah, all. Koal or choal. Habehemoth, that means like the cattle. Uleof, the birds. Hashamayim, sky birds or heaven birds. Ulechol, all. Hayat Hashadeh. Hayat Hashadeh. Field beast. Ule Adam. Lo means not. Matzah. We've not seen this word yet. To attain, to find. 455 Old Testament usage. Discover, invent, overtake, possess, reap. I would say the object is valuable or would be a loss without it, if you look at all the usage. Etzer Konegdo, we saw this 2 sentences ago. It means suitable helper. Did we dig into the word etzer? I know I wrote it down, but I feel like we didn't really dig into it. Let's take a peek. A helper. Oh yeah, the assister. We did talk about that. All right. So let's put it together. Adam named every beast and sky bird and living field creature, but no discovery of the suitable helper. So a beast of burden just won't do it. It's got to be something on par. We know that here in a minute, next week, but I'm just giving you a preview, right? You know it. All right, let's put it all together, and then we'll round it out. Sabbath, after Achaya makes all. Plants, skylights in the water holder, an angel army. Animals, ruled and named by humans, tending Eden by the river where the tree of life is, and it breaks into the 4 rivers. Adam, eat any tree fruit, but not of the deadly one of the knowledge of good and evil. And I'll make you a helper / peer. I'm predicting a little bit there on that last word. Next week we will start with Genesis 21. Let's bring the music down. You've been a great, great, great crew. Let me start the force me out the door music while I check in on the chats. Super good. Let's see if there's any. Good. We're good. So the music tells me that I got to skedaddle. Now, skedaddle in this case means cut to the 2.5 minute slate that shows you all of our schedule. It's still 98% accurate. It's definitely accurate on the schedule. It's close to accurate on what the topics are. Sort of. This has been fun. Can't wait to do it more. We'll see you Friday for the news. Man, the news this week. Am I right? Am I right? I'm right. I didn't make the news. I'm just right about, oh man, getting lots of people. Let me tell you where I'm going to head over to. I'm going to probably check out Sevier and Sloan. Probably Sevier and Sloan. All right. It's been a fun hour and 15 minutes. You guys are the best. Thank you for spending time with us. We're joined on Fridays by co-host Angular. This has been G. Ross, and you are the underscore. Be sure to catch us on the foxhole.app, DLive, YouTube, or Facebook. Current shows include The Bread Pill Weekly. You've been red pilled, now be the red pill. You're out of the oven and ready for delivery on our weekly alternative news roundup and call-in show on Foxhole, DLive, YouTube, and Facebook every Friday at 5:30 p.m. Central, co-hosted by G. Ross and Angular. Current shows include Epistemology for Fun and Profit, where woo meets goo. You're in the woo, and the woo is in you. a philosophical call-in show with occasional guest interviews, diving into the oldest questions. Most episodes are exclusively on the foxhole.app, Sunday at 11:30 p.m. Central. Current shows include 9dNation, the nation with no denomination. Declare to the custom agents any edible plants or miscellaneous worldviews. We take a look back at how we got here, eventually leading into a regular Wednesday night Bible study at 11 p.m. Central. Catch us on the foxhole.app, DLive, YouTube, and Facebook. Our Friday co-host is Angular. This has been G. Ross, and you are the underscore.